I've been thinking a lot about the future of how fans consume music. I think that it's incredibly important that you as a musician are constantly thinking about where the fans are and how to work with them to get your music out there. These platforms are changing. The algorithms are changing. The future of how consumers like to consume music is constantly changing. And I know this isn't new news for you, but I just wanted to talk about this. So I feel like the past was all about gathering fans one by one with subscribers and getting them to listen to your music and watch your music videos and develop a buzz so that way you could end up going and touring and potentially selling merch. And it was a pretty simple process, but you just had to do it a lot. Fans would need to find you online to be able to listen to your music. And the name of the game was to get all of your socials together and be able to have it set up to where it's really easy to find you and really easy for them to see what you're up to. Then they would be able to follow you. Then they would be able to stick around and see what's going on. I think in the future, the fans might not even know who you are. You might have one of their favorite songs, but they still don't know the whole song. On TikTok, there's songs that I've listened to like 50 times because they keep on reloading a new video with just the hook part in it. And I haven't heard the whole thing. I'm still a fan of the song, but all I know is that one part of the song. I'm still consuming the content, but I'm not following the artist. I don't have to follow the artist because if I watch enough of the content, they'll show it to me next time I open up the app. Or maybe even a couple posts down, you know? It's like, it's kind of crazy. But right now, as a musician, the more that you post, the more that people will be able to just receive your music without having to search for it. You don't want people to search for your music nowadays. You want it to be so catchy and in their face that they don't even have to make a decision. The algorithm will make the decision for them. And whether they like it or not, it'll constantly go to them. Very different than trying to earn subscribers and earn followers. So consumers of music might not know who the artist is, might not know any of their other songs, but be a huge fan of that one song. There's this concept called superfans that I hear labels talking about nowadays, which is what I would consider just a regular fan. But instead of the regular fan, which is now a smaller niche audience, you have this other tier of audience that is completely different. It's much bigger. And it's a much wider net that you have to cast. And I feel like when you're marketing, the whole idea of just finding followers and finding your super fans is the last step. The first step needs to be, how do I cast the widest net? And how do I build a fan base from that? How do I develop a funnel system that gets people that would never try to follow my stuff to consume my content, and then the few super fans that come out of that then have a place to go to become more super fans and actually work with you and get to know you a little bit better, possibly much more personal than ever before. That's just the current state of how things are going. Consumers are less fanatic about most of the content that they consume, but you could still benefit off of that. But I just want you to put your mentality in that place where we're at right now, because what's going to happen in the future is going to be tenfold. Right now, record labels are partnering up with AI companies. These apps are giving people full control over their own experience to keep them on the platform for longer. So what does that mean? That means that in the future, the audience may be a fan of your song, but have never heard the original version of your song. This is already happening. about 30%, don't quote me on this, but I heard that about 30% of the songs online have been remixed by fans to some degree, whether slowed down or sped up or stretched somehow, manipulated, remixed. And that's going to continue to grow as a percentage. People are going to have more tools to mess up your song in a way that might be the way that actually blows up. So right now, your song, your favorite song that you've ever made, your baby, might go out there, somebody else might remix it, and then that's going to become the hit. And that's going to be hard for a lot of musicians to take, because obviously you know how it goes. This is something that you made and then somebody else messed it up real quick and then turned it into something else. And now they kind of get the credit. You kind of get the credit. Nobody knows who you are. It doesn't seem to help your numbers all that much. Maybe it does a little bit. It's a mess. It's not as straightforward as it used to be. So what I'm asking you guys to think about is how these platforms change is going to change how you should think about delivering your content. And by content, I don't just mean videos, but I mean your actual songs. The format that is most popular will change how songs are made. They will change how long songs are. They will change what makes a song catchy. I just want you guys to think about this before developing a strategy to release music. You have the option to write 10 hooks a day, put those hooks out online, and see what people like about it. You have the option to potentially have an a cappella hook turn into a hit without any other production or any other effort put in. It has that option. You can take 10 chorus ideas, put them out there, see which ones people like the most organically through the algorithm, if you could consider that organic, and take the most popular ones and turn those into songs. It doesn't have to be a 5-minute masterpiece song. It could literally be a hook and a verse, intro, outro. Really simple. Now I know what a lot of you are thinking. That's bullshit. I don't want to do that. I want to make my own music the way that I want to make it, because I'm a musician and that's what feeds my soul, is to be able to do it the way that I want to do it. And I think that that's great. And I think that you should absolutely continue to do that. I'm not telling you to stop. What I am saying, though, is that there are more categories in which you could be creative nowadays. Some of these categories, such as making the songs the way that you want to make them, or making songs for sync licensing, which is a completely different mindset, versus making songs for jingles or commercials, completely different mindset. Or trying to come up with something that's very catchy and could potentially be more viral or collaborative with other musicians. That's a different mindset. You don't have to be stuck in the thing that you just started out with loving and that you spent your whole life loving. Even if you're 60 years old, you've been doing it for a really long time, and you've plasticized your workflow into one idea of what a song should feel like, it's okay to be free and try out different things. Or not. You know, the world is going to be run by the people that do, and the people that innovate and change things, especially in this world right now where things are rapidly changing out from under our feet. Right now, these record companies are developing deals with these other kinds of companies that are going to rewrite the code, the infrastructure, and how we deliver music, how consumers behave while consuming music. We could love it or not. But one thing's for sure, it will be driven towards the consumer first. The musicians will have to get in line to be able to meet what the consumer demand is. If we think, let's talk about art for a second. If we think about art as the purest form of one's own expression, okay? Nothing should ever change that. And that's great. We should love that. That's the best thing ever. That's why I like to do it. That's why I'm sure you guys got into this as well. But now let's talk about making money. When you're talking about the music business, you're talking about delivering something as a business. Treat your music as a piece of plastic. Okay, let's just say it's a piece of plastic. And you're like, well, I got this piece of plastic right here and I could sell it for this much. Well, who do I sell it to? Where do I go to sell it? How do I develop enough of these pieces of plastic to where I could live off of this? How can I make enough pieces of plastic and get them out there so much that I can hire employees and develop a life doing this, a career, like a full-time career? I want a warehouse full of that makes all these pieces of plastic so I could now do what I love doing and turn it into a big, huge machine that fulfills my soul in that way. We're talking about two different things here. We have art, and then we have the music business. If you want to be in the music business, you don't have to sell your soul, okay? Some people can, sure, whatever. But you do have to know where the fans are, how people consume, and how you could change your product to be consumable by those people. Here at the studio, we've talked about, let's just say you're a candy bar maker. And, you want to get into AM/PM and sell your candy bars there. It's going to be really hard to come up with a flavor or a type of candy bar that hasn't already been made, that hasn't already found the share of the market. If you make something that's truly unique, it fits into some sort of weird packaging, it's like a big block of something, it costs $25, it's going to be really hard for you to get that into that store. It reminds me almost of like the Dubai chocolate bars. And that thing had to become an extremely viral hit before it was able to get into those types of stores. AM/PM wouldn't sell that, but you could kind of see them now. They're like $15 for a chocolate bar. It's not that great. The homemade ones are way better. My wife makes amazing Dubai chocolate bars, by the way. But if she were to sell them, they'd be like $30 a piece. They're not very easy to chew on because, we're not candy bar makers. So we would have to come up with a production style that was able to fulfill those desires. And the people that figured it out before us. Knowing what the consumer wants is incredibly important. After you know what the consumer wants and what the consumer habits are going to be like in the future, the trajectory of where they are headed, you can then start making business plans based off of that. What you don't want to do is make a massive business plan based off of an old model that nobody is showing up for. Let me know in the comments if you know where the consumer sentiment is going to be in the future. What are things that we can prepare for the future? How do we connect with an audience? I'll talk to you guys later.